So now we've got our next speaker, and joining us from Hungary is Bogi, our darling Bogi. She's an EFL teacher, a teacher trainer, and university lecturer, and she holds a PhD in language pedagogy and English applied linguistics. I hope that's right, Bogi. Yeah, got it right. And today we're going to be working with crafts. So I hope you've brought a square piece of paper with you as Bogey requested. But before we begin, we've got another sense. So we've done taste, we've done touch, and now we're moving on to sight. So my question for you, Bogey, is what is something you look forward to seeing this summer?
Thank you for the question and the nice introduction, Anna. What I'm looking forward to seeing basically every summer is a nice sunset on the beach. I'm from Hungary, so we don't have a sea. We have Lake Balaton though, which is pretty close for me, but it's not the same. So I try to go to the sea at least once every summer, but it's something very exotic for me. I know for you in Portugal or Spain, it's an everyday view, but for me, it's summer only.
Yeah. I'm sure you saw the sea recently when you were here in Portugal
Yes.
back in May for API conference. Okay, thank you, Bogi. And now over to you for crafts as mindfulness in the language classroom.
Thank you. So I will share my screen real quick. Um, Great. Can you see it? Okay. Super. So today I will talk a bit about crafts as mindfulness in the language classroom. Um, I will tell you why in a few minutes. But I really like hands-on learning, and I really appreciate when I learn some new things or when I get to learn by practicing something. So let's start with that. I hope you all had the chance to get a square piece of paper. I know I said about origami size, so 7.5 centimeter long, but it can be technically any size. It's just the bigger, the easier to work with. Okay, so we are going to do some origami here today. Um, so this is what you'll need. You'll need your hands and attention to detail. Okay, so please pay attention. We'll go step by step. Let's see what you make of this. And it's on purpose that I'm not telling you what we are making today. So, first, please fold your paper in the dotted lines. So we'll go half like this. You open it up, and then the other side, okay? Yeah, so the idea is that we just need to see these creases here. I hope you have these two lines in this shape, which will guide you with the next steps. Amazing. Great. I can see some of you have that. I'll quickly check. Okay, great. So let's fold in to the middle. So what I would like you is to check the corner and fold it to the middle. Okay, all four corners. This is what you would want to do. So like this, all four of them. It's sometimes it's quite difficult doing origami because you need to be very precise. You need to really pay attention because with the more difficult ones, it just won't work. if it's not very, very precise. But with this one, it's okay. I tried an easier one. I myself am not a big origami master. I very rarely do it, but I thought that this is something probably we can do together. So do you have it like this? Amazing. So then, good news, the next step won't be anything new because I will ask you to do it again. Okay, so we have our paper like this. And again, please fold all four corners to the middle. Again, all four of them. Like this, to the middle. I'm just checking your messages while you're at it. Okay. A fortune teller. You are right. It does look like a fortune teller. It is not gonna be that though. But that's a very nice core memory. And I think that it's for, is it an international experience? Did we all used to do these fortune telling paper crafts back in primary school? You know, when you had to choose a color or a number, and then it would tell you your future. It does look like that. It's going to be something different though. Do you all have it? I don't want to lose you in the way, so I just try to say something. Just did it at a summer camp. Yes. Okay, so surprise, surprise. Once again, I'll ask you to repeat these steps. So please, again, you have your paper like this and fold all four corners to the middle. This is where it gets tricky when you use a small paper, right? So I tried it with this little size of paper. It does work. It's quite cute at the end, but it's a bit difficult to fold it at this step. Okay. Are you still with me? Can I just get some feedback if you're here in the chat, just to tell me that you're still with me? You have this. We are halfway through. Yay. Yes. Okay, trying your best. Amazing. That's what I need. I'm telling you, it's not amazing. Thank you. You're here. Super. So do you have this? Getting difficult. Don't worry, it's not too difficult. I promise you. Okay, so now that you have it like this, I need you to turn it over. Okay, so you have a side which is completely flat. I want you to have that on the top. And once again, fold all the four corners into the middle. But this time, once it's done, I will ask you to unfold them because we'll just need these creases. Okay, I know it's difficult. Now it's a lot of layers of paper, so it's not too easy to fold them. Can be a little workout. You can do that. Yeah, it's okay if it's not looking too pretty right now because we will just need those lines. So this is what it looks like, right? It's kind of in the middle. And then you will just open them. And on the flat surface, you will see these lines, what we'll need. I'll check the chat. Your square wasn't a square. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, if it's a handmade square, then it's a bit difficult. Um, origami paper is thinner, yes. Actually, mine is not origami paper either. It's just colored paper. But it does work. So no worries. It's normal paper, like printing paper, I'd say. Do you have it? Okay. Anna, I can see you. And it's always nice just to check that you are with me. Great. So now we turn it over again. So I would like you to again see these little ears here. And what we are going to do is we are going to fold each of these corners out, but not the whole way. you're gonna leave like, I don't know, half a centimeter there. So like this. And if you fold all of them like this, it will look like a little star. Okay, like this. So not all the way out, but leave a little bit in the middle. This is what you'll have. Something like a little star. It looks quite pretty. What it reminds me is those wind catchers that just, spin in the wind spinners. Do you have it? Okay. It doesn't matter if it looks weird. If it looks kind of something like this, it should be okay. Yeah, something like this. That's good. That's good enough. Something like this is good enough. Okay, so if we are all here, then again, let's turn it over. So let's have the flat um, face in front of us. And now we'll use those creases that we made because now again, we'll fold in to the middle. Okay, so all these corners where you did fold before, now you go once again. And it should be easier now because you already have those scissors. Do you have it? Like this. It's a bit difficult folding them, but it should look something like this with these. Oops, okay, I need to put it, it's easier if you put it down in front of you. Yeah, something like this. Oh my God, so many messages. A Demogorgon, yes! It should look like a Demogorgon, Adriana. That's a good word to put it, yes. Ah, go back there, Sonia. So we had our star, right? Um, like this, right? We had our star, and then you flip it, and then you just again corners in the middle. Is it okay now? Well, this is almost the last step, Chris, so you should not quit. Because now what we will want to do is just find the back of it again and fold out these corners from the middle. Just fold them out like this. No, Adriana, I'm sure it's good. You just fold these out. You can fold out both layers if you wish. Yeah, you can send a picture actually to everyone. Let's just see, even if you did not succeed, let's just say that you are not alone. Okay. Okay. It should look like this. So what do you think we made? What does it look like to you? If you're ready. Exactly. Well done. Great. So I hope you have your little lotus flower. I was thinking, what can we do? Something that reminds me of mindfulness. And with the group, we quite often use the lotus emoji because it's something that it just reminds me of that, meditation, mindfulness, being peaceful. It can be a water lily as well. I just thought it would be a nice reminder. So you have it, you can put it right next to you and just look at it throughout the day. So now I'd like you to type in the chat. How did you feel? It's okay if it's something negative. I know. Like, it is difficult, more difficult this way, definitely, because I'm not there. I cannot help you physically. But when we are in the classroom, we can always make sure that everybody succeeds. Because if they just cannot follow, you can go and step there and just show um, the next step, and we can just guide learners. Okay, yes, you should try again. It's great with the largest. I have these tiny ones as well. This is what I practiced. Look, you can't barely see them, but they're quite cute. Okay, so you feel relaxed, not negative. Okay, you felt in the moment, you felt focused, happy. Yes. Uh, great. You enjoy the process. Okay. Okay, yes, let's try to do it later on with thinner paper or a bigger piece of paper. You can definitely do that. Great. You felt relaxed. Curious. Yes, I did not tell you what it was going to be, right? That was an extra twist on it. A bit. I'm happy you felt it was fun. Lost. I'm sorry you felt lost. Yes, that's something that, we can just avoid when we are present and in person. Um, you didn't succeed. I'm sorry to hear that, Fernanda. You can try it again. Okay, I'm telling you, it's not too difficult, but it might take a couple of tries. Okay. Yes, I'm great to see that you use origami with the children. Yes. Okay, you'll try again. Great. Engaged. I'm so happy to hear that even if you did not succeed, you still felt engaged and curious. Great. Okay, super. So, these are the things I hoped to hear after this. So now let's go into the whys. So why do I do this and how it all started in the classroom? First of all, and it's really nice that Zainab already mentioned this in the first webinar, that mindfulness is not always meditation. And I need to confess that I'm just not there yet. I cannot meditate. Anytime I try, I feel that I'm overwhelmed. I have too many thoughts. I can't switch off my brain. It just doesn't work. I hope I will get to a point where it relaxes me rather than annoys me, but I'm not there yet. But there are other activities that makes me feel relaxed and kind of give me, I guess, a very similar state of mind. And for me, it's actually beading. I have tons of beads, a lot of them. And what I do in my free time, when I have free time, is just making some jewelry. Very simple ones, bracelets, necklaces, rings. You can see some in the picture. And then they are just in a box. I have a huge box storing them. I don't do anything with them. They are there accumulating. It's not what I make, it's the process of making these things. Because I am fully concentrated in the activity, I need to pay attention to the pattern or to the things that I do with my hands. But at the same time, it makes me feel relaxed. And I can also think about other things. I can concentrate on other things. I can watch a film and bead at the same time. It's no problem. I can multitask this way as well, but I can also just really immerse in it and not pay attention to anything else. And so I thought, if I feel this way, maybe my students feel similarly as well. So this was actually the first craft I brought into the classroom and I tried with my students. I need to tell you that this was a language school where we have longer lessons. So it's 3 hours a lesson. And of course, I had a very supportive community of teachers who encouraged me taking these crafts, and they already use crafts in the classroom. So I had lots of freedom about bringing anything I wanted into the lessons. And I tried these and I felt that it really, really connects to the whole lesson. It connects people, it connects our minds, and while doing it, we can also chit chat in English if they are good enough for that. But let's just start from the very beginning. What is craft? Or rather, what it is not. So I was looking for a couple of definitions, and probably this is the one I like the most. It said the main distinction between arts and crafts is that crafts have a final goal in mind, right? Crafts typically have step-by-step instructions with a clear set of directions to follow. So this is, for example, the lotus flower. It should all look like this. At the end, I'm telling you the steps, you're following it. And although I really like this definition, I also need to add that there is the element of creativity and uniqueness. Because the steps might be similar or might be the same. In some cases, you can choose what you want to put there, what color you use, right? I think we all have different colored lotus flowers today. And that's just one thing. And if we talk about different crafts like beading, we will have very different end results. And that's what we need. We need creativity and we need uniqueness in that. So the main message here is if you tell students to draw something or color something, it's amazing. I do that, but it's not yet a craft. Okay, so a craft is something that has steps and we can follow, and the end result is usually something tangible. So, like an object we can hold and we can see. Okay, great. Um, but then here comes the question, why? Right? Bogey, it's an English class. So what do they gain from, folding origami? Why would you do that? There are some parents who don't understand it. Unfortunately, there are some teachers who don't understand it either. So I just would like to tell you all the benefits, why we could use these things in the EFL classroom. So first of all, when we think of EFL classroom, of course, we think about language skills, right? We are there to produce language and to develop our language skills. Well, did I tell you anything in Hungarian? That's my mother tongue, right? So this is what it usually comes to, like, okay, but you are talking in Hungarian. No, you needed to listen to the instructions in English, right? If kids had any questions, they would have to ask back in English. So that's kind of a receptive vocabulary. We need the vocabulary, right? Words like fold and corner, paper, glue, scissors, all these things that are about a craft. And then they also need to produce these vocabulary if they want to ask for help, for example. They need to tell us where they are stuck, right? And also, they sometimes need to say the step-by-step activities. Sometimes it's the learners who bring a craft idea, and they need to be the instructors. They need to tell us how to get to the final product, which is amazing because it's a whole presentation they do without realizing that this is what they are doing. So, yes, it's not focused on the language, but we use language to convey our ideas, right? And the other thing is, if it's a more free craft, like I don't know, cutting something, um, then we always chit chat in English. This is our tea time. I had a group, there were like seventh, eighth graders, girlies. This was their favorite time of the lesson, and they were gossiping all the time. I knew everything about everyone, all the boyfriends, girlfriends, everything, but they did everything in English. And I loved it. It wasn't even a question that we were doing it in English. Okay, so language skills, amazing. But let's move on from that. I think it's quite a buzzword now, but 21st century skills is something that we need to pay more attention to in our classrooms. I think we need to be um, more conscious about them because they are really needed in life. And besides all the hard skills that they learn, they need these soft skills, these 21st century skills, right? So, what about crafts? Creativity, right? They can use their creativity every time. And it's not just they can use, sometimes they must use it, right? So if they have a blank paper, they just need to come up with something on their own, which really improves their creativity. Critical thinking, like turning an abstract idea into physical form. Sometimes I just tell them to create um, create an airplane. There you go. How? But how? I don't care how. You can use anything in the classroom. Just make it. Have an object that looks like an airplane and can fly. They need to be very creative and they need to use critical thinking in that case as well. And then also social skills. Crafts can be lonely, or, we can do them alone, but we can focus on collaborative tasks as well, where they don't just need to collaborate, but communicate with each other as well. I will bring you a couple of ideas, don't worry. And then, of course, we are here today talking about mindfulness. So the last part is about mindfulness. It is a sensorial engagement, right? So we need to work with the paper in front of us. We need to work with the beads, with the scissors, with the glue. It is always something that we are touching, which gives grounding to many students and many people, which can lower anxiety. Um, these are all from academic research, and I will show you my sources at the very end. But this is proven fact that this is how it works, luckily. And then we also need concentration, very deep concentration, which can lead to flow. I'm sure you've all heard of flow. It's when you just work on something without realizing the time passing, right? Do you ever feel that way? What makes you be in flow? Can you just mention some activities, please? You love the gossip time. Yes, it's so nice. Okay, so what gives you the feeling of flow? For me, it's probably the beading. Oh, cooking. Yes, Chantal. Knitting, reading. Yes, you also mentioned knitting. That's something crafty. Singing, dancing. Exactly. Flower arranging. Very nice. Okay. Yes, you can just go for a nice walk. Painting. Nice. Okay. Painting? Ooh, playing a game. Yes, games. That's another favorite of mine. Gardening. Lovely. You have great ideas. Talking to your dogs. Yes. Sewing. Another craft, right? So this is something where we engage with our hands And then we can just think about other things if we wish, or we can be just very mindful about what we are doing. Okay, great, super. So I really hope that I convinced you now that crafts do have a place in the EFL classroom because of all these reasons. And now it's time for me to share some ideas with you. Okay, so what are the things I actually do in the classroom? Of course, it happens that I don't have an idea, or sometimes people say that, Bogey, I'm not too creative. What should I do? Well, I'm not that creative. I find myself a creative person, but sometimes you need a little boost to have an idea, to have a proper idea. So that's where I go to social media, right? TikTok or Pinterest are my two go-to places when I need something. I just go to TikTok and say London craft, and you get so nice ones. Amazing. Of course, sometimes what you find there um, is just an idea. So if anything is needed, you need to create those. Sometimes they do come with a PDF file or something that you can download for free and use them. But you can also go to teaching resources. I really like TPT, which is Teachers Pay Teachers, where you can upload your own things and then you can usually buy some from online. There are some free ones and there are some for like $1 or $2, which I usually spend gladly because I know it goes to the pocket of another teacher who helped me with this. So it can be really nice. It's um, it's no advert. I don't have anything up there. I just use it as a resource. Okay. Yes, and we can let our students bring the ideas as well. Exactly, this is what I mentioned when they need to tell it to you step by step what it is that they do. Yes, so if you don't have an idea, there's a lot of things we can do. But in the last few slides, let me give you a few ideas for the next school year. So take notes if you wish. I think the easiest or the most basic to go around is special days, right? This is how we usually start. So we can do some decoration. This is my Halloween crafts that we did with students. Um, Mind you, carving pumpkins might not be the best idea with knives and little kids, but painting them can be pretty cute and funny, and they can do whatever they want with those little pumpkins. Okay, we had some very nice ornaments for the Christmas tree, and we also had a nice winter village kind of thing, which I put here just to show you that things don't always turn out as you expect them to. So, right, they are students, they are not always in the mood, they will just, quickly do something, and it ends up in a way, but it's still very cute. And of course, we used not real fire, but light bulbs in the background. So it looks like a very nice snowy city. And then we also do something for Mother's Day. Sometimes it's just a nice card which pops out, which is a bit more than a basic card, right? So they need to color, they need to fold, they need to cut, they need to glue, and also write something in English in the middle. So these are things that I did with primary school students, all of these, which you can see here. Okay, so let's move on to another one, which is CLIL, right? Sometimes we need to bring a little CLIL, or we want to bring a little CLIL into our classrooms. Physics. I'm not a big physics person. I'm an English teacher. But this challenge was really lovely. So they got a little bowl. I think it was a glass bowl, and I asked them to build a route so that it rolls for the longest for them. and they were building these paper routes all over the classroom. And it was very nice. And there were two teams. And at the end, we measured which route was longer, and the longest one won. Um, Now, this I just brought as an example because we really like posters, and I think there's nothing wrong with posters, but probably lab books are a bit more. It gives us more. We can be more creative with lab books if you don't know them. It's basically a folded poster with elements that pop. So you can add little folders like here. So these are all foldable and you can't really read them when they are not open. So it's very nice to just check what we have in the little folders. For example, this I did with a university class. So I told them to read upon the topic, be creative, and then please summarize their ideas and put it in a lab book or on a form of a poster, but I wanted them to have these pop-up elements definitely. And then um, this was the last one. These were planes or rockets, so to say. And I wanted them to build a rocket that goes as high up as possible. I gave them a straw and they had to blow in it. And the one that went the highest won. And it was an amazing competition. They spent about an hour perfecting their own little rocket. Um, and then they could even bet which one would go the highest. And of course, you can talk about the physics behind it or whatever you like, however deep you want to go into that. And I will just really speed it up, I know. So we can use it for self-expression. Here are some ideas. This was something we created with university learners. Again, I just gave them a bunch of colored papers and I asked them to create a picture of themselves that really represents them for some reason. And of course, then we talked about why, and it was a culture class where we shared this. This is another great idea with the lower, younger learners. That they all had to draw something that's their favorite. And this is called blackout poetry, where you just find some words in a piece of paper or from a book. I gave them a paper from a book, and they just had to find a whole new story and illustrate it. And then finally, which is probably my biggest point here, is that this is great for community building as well. I'll just show you the pictures just as illustration. So this is how we work, right? It's not an isolated work. We are not just immersed in our own thing. Sometimes that's good and sometimes that happens. But sometimes we are just together, chit-chatting, gossip time, working together, creating something. And this is already a spoiler from the pictures, but what I really like doing with my groups is at the end of the school year, when I know that that group won't be with me anymore, or there's going to be a new group, I ask them to make some memories for me, something I can remember them by. And what I decided is that I bring them a piece of clothes, which, as you can see, was either jeans or a t-shirt. And then I just asked them to create it for me, design it for me, do whatever they want on this piece of clothing. And I will always have it in my wardrobe and I will always remember them. And I just can't wait to have a full collection of these lovely clothes in my wardrobe. And I really want an occasion where I just can wear all of them and show everyone what great groups I have. So that's it for today. Thank you a lot. This is where you can email me. Please find me on LinkedIn. We can connect if you like that. Or if you have a nice lotus, you can send me the pictures. Please do. I really want to see them. And then this is just my references so that you see that this is all true and based on real research that I told you today. And I will read everything in the chat in a minute. So thank you a lot for your attention. I hope you enjoy this session, and I'll give the word back to Anna.
Oh, Bogey, that was amazing. Thank you so much. And I keep saying to myself that I'm not creative, but now I've got all these ideas of things to do. I mean, I think we all fell in love with the clothes,
Like,
which ties into what Shannon was saying about decluttering. You know, the clothes that go into that pile, you don't know what to do with them, or you're going to throw them away. What an amazing thing to use that. And it made me think of also, oh, the blackout poetry, what to do with all that paper that instead of throwing it away, you can take it into class, you know, those photocopies.
exactly. Yeah,
So many great ideas. And I love that, as you said, that natural use of language. I mean, think of all the
exactly.
language that comes into this. You know, the process, the steps, the collaboration, all that functional language. And I'll just finish off. It's what you said that mindfulness is not just meditation. That's a misconception. I mean, this is such a mindful activity and focus, thinking about our students and attention. It has to be regulated. We have to do things in the classroom with them. And even a small little craft like this origami, something simple, before going into something serious. So you're kind of like getting them focusing. So thank you. God, I've got so much to do after this event. I'm
Thank you.
adding that to my list. Okay. So I just want a little thing to say is that we won't be sending the slides, but the recordings will be available. Okay. So then you can go back and rewatch some of the things that you missed or you want to watch again. And also, if I'm not mistaken, we'll be sending certificates out. So yeah, so keep an eye on your inbox.